Oh,
You worked with
Anya.
Anya?
yeah.
Anya? I don't know.
Yeah,
remember that
the
story.
guys on our rugby team used to call Farino Anya.
Anya.
Actually, no, we used to call
is
him
that where
Onion.
that's from?
Yeah.
Because there was a woman who was passingly attractive who looked like Farino.
Oh, right, that's right. I remember because of the hair, right? Because you always look like a woman.
the
And
jet
the
black
funniest
hair.
thing was that Sean, not this Sean, the other Sean, used to just like be like Anya in class in high school. And I got to the point where Farino like turned around and chucked his book at him.
I was sitting right next to him. I think that was for English or
French
ethics.
or something like
I think it's for Farino,
Yeah, Farino.
not for English.
that.
For Farino.
Yeah.
Fiorino.
Anyways, he ended up getting like kicked out of the class or something like that. He's like, "My name's not fucking Anya."
I remember when Jeff Lawrence whipped a whole thing of whiteout at Lomas.
Oh
And
god.
it exploded all over him. Fuck! Fucking quick dry! It's all
Quick dry.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
And on that note, to start it off, I'm Adam like usual. We got David, Dodds, Brandon, Matt, and Sean.
We should sit in alphabetical order.
That's true. That is true. That's
Because those two worked out. It was Dave and Dodds. It was after the A.
Matt and Sean. So
Yeah,
Brandon would just
Brandon
need
would
to
have
sit
to
next
just
to
sit
me.
there. Or just say it in that order. Just say Adam, Brandon.
You know what's funny?
I just go in clockwise.
Like, my teammates on other teams like have played against us now, and they've all started calling me Dodds out of the blue because our team calls me Dodds. Yeah, like I was playing with my buddy Matt on Tuesday. He was like, "Hey, what's up, Dodds?" I was like,
Since when?
"You don't call me Dodds."
Call you Kyle.
And he brought his son to the game,
Scumbag Kyle.
God.
and his son was handing out. His son's like 10. His son was handing out beers to us at the other game.
Nice.
You want Heineken or Budweiser? Like, how do you know what this is? Like, I can read.
How old is he?
He's like 10.
That is easy.
Yes, you can read.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, what have you been playing this week?
Started 2 new games on PS4 playing Murdered.
Murder.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
really?
What was that?
Nice. It's
The
the
Suspect of Souls.
Yeah,
Soul Suspect.
Soul Suspect.
That doesn't help.
It's that Square Enix game that came out where you're this ghost detective trying to solve your own murder.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds an awful lot like Sang Froid.
Anyways,
It's really close to like Hard Rain.
Hard
Heavy
Rain.
Rain, you mean?
Heavy Rain. We all knew what he meant. We all knew what he meant.
I actually did know.
great.
I
Really?
know, but
Really?
Hard Rain.
There's a sequel called Hard
I
Rain.
know a game called Heavy Rain.
Triple X version.
You spend a lot of time just
Rain harder.
running around looking for clues.
Okay.
So it's not uncommon to just spend an hour in the same area just looking at
So-
your feet everywhere for clues.
Was it Colonel Mustard in the study with with like a chandelier, like a candlestick?
Yes, a chandelier.
Yeah, with a
But
chandelier.
Candelabra, okay?
Whatever. You
You
took
get-
a chandelier.
You get a much better arc with the menorah. Trust me.
Yeah.
That shit works really well for characters.
Anyways, how do you enjoy the game? Because I've heard mixed things.
Storyline's fantastic.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's kind of long.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're
It's
just
long.
all you're doing is just looking for clues
Can you sprint?
to sometimes the most obvious questions, but you still need to find clues to solve the case.
That
Okay.
sucks.
No, but that's it. Can you sprint
and
at
you
least?
Wait. I thought you were only looking.
Yeah, you can go through most walls.
Oh, really?
So that's another thing.
Go ahead,
that's
because you're
really
a
cool.
ghost.
Every other game, you spend your time walking around walls. Now you don't need to do that anymore, so it's weird.
I thought you were trying to solve your own murder. You have other cases as well, or what?
They're all kind of linked to the Bell murder.
Are they all linked to the past?
That was
You
the
have
best
to keep
laugh
that.
ever.
That could be our
Anyways,
intro.
so you're just this guy, and there's very little that you can do without dying, other than just possessing things.
Okay.
Sometimes you can possess cats, which is the most awesome thing.
Yes!
Immediately, the game turns into Spider-Man because you can just climb walls. And,
Oh
like,
my
You're a
God.
ghost. You can float.
It's pretty sick.
Cat
What if-
Simulator.
Yeah.
other than that,
You know the
though,
notes?
you've got this chick medium who helps you out.
Okay, yeah, I knew about that.
Yeah. No, not really. She kind of looks
She's
like
medium.
she reminded me a lot of the girl from Infamous Second Son.
Oh,
The
she
neon
like
chick?
Flicker?
Yeah,
Or no, Fetch.
Fetch.
Fetch,
I don't know why we
Fetch
always
is hot.
we always get her name wrong the first time we say it.
I call it a
Flicker.
neon chick.
The neon chick, yeah.
Other than that, on Android, playing Angry Birds Epic.
How is that?
Not at all what I thought it
Not
was.
epic.
Oh, it's an RPG, right?
It's an RPG.
Yeah.
The only thing it has to do with Angry Birds is that it's bird pig themed.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
other than that, it's exactly like Stick of Truth.
2 questions.
Yeah.
Do you need to be online to play it?
Yes, all the time.
Damn
Really?
it, Sean.
It's pretty dumb.
Every
all the
game.
time.
Why the hell do you need to be online to play a RPG?
Every battle, it checks to see if you're online.
Wow. What a dick.
And it helps to be on Facebook because you get extra points if other people like your progress.
Yeah, everybody,
Motherfuckers.
everybody does that now. If you like them on Facebook, they give you bonuses.
Yeah.
But how is the actual game? Is it a lot of fun?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the storyline's pretty basic. You got to rescue your eggs from the pigs.
What if
But
pigs want
battle
eggs?
functions are the exact same as Stick of Truth.
Okay.
How did those pigs pick up the eggs? They have hooves.
Doesn't matter.
A lot of them can fly. There's like the king is like this wizard.
Well, that makes sense that they can
It's
fly.
a
'cause that's like
world
from The
where pigs
Simpsons,
can
right?
fly.
Pigs-
So come on.
when pigs fly.
That's interesting. Is it challenging? Is it just kind of a...
It's intended for children. You got to remember
Okay.
that.
Oh,
So-
really? Okay.
So
1
every
plus 1.
you get characters really quick. Like every half hour, there's a new character.
Well, it's a cell phone game. They have to make it. The whole point about cell phone games, it has to be immediately gratifying.
Yeah, it is. Each character has one physical attack and one passive defensive attack.
Okay.
You can get different classes by changing your helmet.
That's cool.
Was that passive defensive attack?
Yeah, because some passive attacks aren't defensive. They can remove.
But it's like a counter then.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
well, no, counter is still offensive. Anyways, good game.
But he's
Yeah,
also
It's free,
defensive.
so that's good.
Oh, it's free?
Yeah,
It is
Okay.
free.
What's
Yeah,
a free
but you're
game?
always online, which means that
So?
there's probably ads.
Whatever.
there's a lot of ads.
There you go.
But you get you can skip all the ads, but you get rewards if you watch them.
Wow.
Whoa.
What a dick.
Yeah.
Not
I
a
do
dick,
it.
that's an
Oh.
amazing business
That's-
model.
that's
Yeah.
good.
You don't
Smarter
pay
than
anything.
Smarter than other people.
If by dick you mean that's a compliment, because you can insert
No,
your
did you ever hear that thing, though?
ambitions into other people's
Did you-
Mine.
throats.
Did you ever hear that thing, though, that on the original Angry Birds, and I'm assuming on a lot of other mobile games, that the paid version of it actually didn't drain your battery as much because the part of the code that runs the ads drains the shit out of your battery,
Nice.
and like it'll save your battery like a good 60% if you actually pay for the thing and remove the ads.
A lot of people complain about the ads, but for most games, if you just turn off your data, the ads stop.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
it just pisses me off that people don't know that.
All right, Dodds, what you been playing?
Far Cry 3.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
So good. So good.
Is it still on an island?
Yeah.
Of course.
You start off, it's like vacation footage of you and your buddies, and then it turns out that the whole time you're watching a cell phone, and then like the cell phone pulls away from your face, and you're stuck in a fucking cage, and you gotta get out of the cage, and then your adventure starts.
Did you beat it or?
Yeah, I fucking ripped through it.
Oh, okay.
Because
How long is the campaign though?
Long. Like a solid. It took me about 30 hours, I think.
That's a good value because, like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like $20 on PS3 or whatever.
Yeah, I bought it used $15.
Yeah.
And you plan on
amazing.
getting Blood Dragon now, or?
Probably.
You should.
It's
amazing.
really
I
good.
think this Blood
think-
Dragon's like $10.
Yeah.
It's not going to give you as much
and
value.
does Blood Dragon come with Far Cry 3?
No.
Okay.
You can get like a
Individual.
pack. Yeah, 2, 3, and Blood Dragon.
Oh,
Which,
really?
I mean,
Which
Okay.
I'm gonna buy, even though
Really?
I
You've
owned 3, I got rid of it. I've owned 2 and I've got rid of it,
Haven't you had Blood Dragon?
and I own Blood Dragon.
but like,
But Far Cry 2 is so
So
amazing.
you're
That's
literally
what
going to buy all the
as well.
games that you got rid of.
Yes, rebuy them
I
for
might
cheaper.
go back and try and beat everything, like capture all the fucking strongholds and shit like that, but it takes so much time that I don't have.
Yes.
The only thing that bugged me is like the gathering and shit, like the skinning and stuff. Like the first couple of things you get become obsolete after like an hour.
Yeah.
You know, it's like okay, you fucking kill a pig, gut it, make a wallet, and
Yeah.
then you never need pig skin again.
Yeah.
It's like they should have made it so that the more advanced ones required the older materials as well as the newer ones.
That's very
Or
true.
you can fashion new materials.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's true.
Because like I didn't because there's 3 weapon slings you can build to hold extra weapons, and I only built 2 because the fourth one, well the last one, you need to get shark skin. I'm like I'm not going hunting for a goddamn shark in the middle of this mission. There's no, and I don't even know how I would fight a shark because you can't use weapons underwater.
You shoot it from on top
You
of
hit it with a
land
boat.
and then skin it in the water.
Yeah, that seems a lot harder
Hit
than.
it with a boat.
Yeah,
It's not
right.
worth it. It's not-
Anyways,
But the story's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good, except for I didn't really like the ending.
no,
No, I didn't.
not particularly.
The whole thing is revenge based. That's the whole point of the story, and it. I got well.
Unsatisfying end.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's the result I wanted, but it's not the way I wanted to go about doing
Yeah.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And to go on David's point, the next one is not on an island. It's in the Himalayas.
So yeah, that's
It's on
what
a
I thought.
mountain.
I thought that was 3 though. I'm not sure. I guess
And
it's
it looks
4.
sick.
No.
It is 4, yeah.
It's almost the
Fourth
complete
one looks
opposite.
Like
pretty
a
sick.
tundra.
I pre-ordered it.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's
Okay.
mountains. It's like Himalayas.
Did you get anything for pre-ordering it?
Well, the thing is, like, Amazon had a really good deal where all the games were off the bat $59.99 instead of
Oh, so it's
$69.
actually cheaper. Because a lot of times you get
That's
shit all for
Not even. It's not even that. Like, well, you get pre-order bonuses, but I pre-ordered 3 games. If if you pre-order 3 games that were part of E3, you get 30% off on
Cool.
top of the already $10 you get off.
Yeah.
What are the other two
Pretty
games
sick.
you got?
So I got Batman, Far Cry, and Uncharted,
Pretty sick.
which are all going to be good. Like you,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
pretty much
Oh,
expected of
You're
them.
gonna play
You
those anyways.
pre-ordered Uncharted?
Yeah, I
When's
pre-ordered
that
Uncharted.
released for?
God
Next
knows
year
when.
sometime.
Well,
You'll eventually get it in the
2015.
It
mail.
doesn't matter because I'm saving like $20.
Yeah.
It ends up being $50 a game.
Never look at the internet for the next year, and then when it shows up on your
Yeah.
doorstep, you're gonna be super surprised.
Exactly.
What the fuck
Oh
is
my
this?
god! Finally.
You mean married with children?
Before we move away from Dodds, I'm actually curious. How did you play through Far Cry 3? Was it more of an action game for you? Did you incorporate stealth?
I did a lot of stealth, actually.
The stealth is so amazing.
It's so much better than other stealth games.
It
Because
is.
it's just relentless murdering.
Yeah.
Because
It is.
the once you build into the stealth tree, it's like you can take down 2 guys at once. Or my favorite thing was when you sneak up behind a guy and you fucking kill him, and then if you look at as you're killing him, if you look at another guy, you press right trigger and you pull out his knife and throw the
Oh,
knife at him and
man.
kill
It
him.
is
Yeah.
amazing.
It's pretty sick.
Or there's one that's the same situation, but you pull the pin on the grenade in his pants and kick him into a crowd
Yeah.
of people.
It's
Nice.
so good.
Oh
So
man,
good.
but yeah, the skills are awesome for stealth.
Yeah.
And it made you want to be stealthier because, like, yeah, I could just go in guns blazing. But
And
That's way harder. Nice.
And I actually noticed that it felt kind of, because I always look in Western games, I look for like a systemic feel, so that the game itself is programmed, obviously, but there's this sort of an organic feeling. So when you're playing it, something happens that might not have happened if you had, if someone else was playing it. For example, there was this one time when I was going between missions, and there was like 3 or 4 jeeps of enemies, and there were a bunch of wild animals that killed all of them. They got into a skirmish with them, and then they ended up killing all of them. And it felt so amazing to watch something like that happen. And as you'd mentioned, sometimes during missions there are like groups of smaller people, and you can just stealth take down all of them.
Yeah.
And it feels so
it's
satisfying.
wicked, and
Yeah.
just the way it all plays out is really
Yeah.
nice. Where because like you can throw rocks and shit to distract them, and
Yes.
it's very fluid in
Yeah.
execution. Where it's like you throw a rock, they look, you grab this guy, kill him, shoot the next guy, throw a knife at another guy, and it's been like 10 seconds, and 5 guys are dead.
Yeah.
It's like it's a Hollywood action movie.
It
It's
is.
amazing.
It's very,
Sick.
very well
Yeah.
handled.
So there was no police station you had to go through to try to get to the basement.
No, there was none of that. In fucking whatever game.
What is that a reference?
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex.
Where he got stuck. 'cause
Oh
he had
yes, which I still think is an amazing game, but it's a very strict stealth game, whereas Far Cry is
And you, and
Much
you
more
can,
flexible.
and you
Fun
do
fact. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
you can blend all the different skill trees into
Mhm.
what you want it to be, and it's
Exactly.
not like I thought you were gonna have to pick one skill tree and stick with it, but they lock everything on the outsides of the tree, so you can only put X amount of skill points. So by the end, you have everything in everything.
Yeah.
And you're just a lethal killing machine.
which is amazing.
And then I like the way when you put points into the skill tree, it becomes part of your tattoo when you're
Yeah,
that was pretty clever.
really
Enjoyed
sick.
that.
Fun fact: every in Murdered, Sole Suspect, every computer screen you look at has an ad for Deus Ex.
yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
saw
fucking
that.
hilarious.
Wow,
God.
everyone is busy playing the exact same game.
cheap
It's
advertising.
hilarious.
Deus Ex has an ad for Final
Douche.
Fantasy.
That's true. Final Fantasy like 20.
I
or
think it's like
something.
Final
Yeah,
Fantasy
20.
32 or
Yeah.
It's in the
something.
future. It's in the
In
future.
the future, it's
Yeah.
funny. All right, Brandon, what have you been playing?
I played quite a bit. In the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Week.
Clash of Clans.
Yeah, like about 30 hours of Clash of Clans.
There you go.
To be
He's just sitting on the
The
sitting on the
shitter, just
shitter.
like,
That's
yes.
a lot of poo that you've been
It's a-
Oh, it's
excreting from
been
your body.
quite an enormous amount the past few days. But I beat Child of Light.
All right.
So
Oh,
I'm surprised you went back to it. I thought you could like
Oh no, no.
quit.
I was just like playing, little 30, 40 minutes.
Here and
Piece-
there.
Yeah.
I want to get it on Vita. Is it worth getting on Vita for $15? Should I wait for it to be cheaper, or is it worth the full price?
I think it's worth the 15, but I haven't beaten it. I don't know.
It's 15, but the thing is, like, I love the controls on the PS4 and only the PS4 because the way you're going to be playing it on the Vita is both thumbsticks will control both characters.
Not necessarily. You might have the touch screen.
Oh, you might have the touchpad in the back.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would be a bit odd, but
Stepping
that
away
would
from
be
controls, looking at more value, not necessarily price. I don't mind spending $15 on a 2-hour game hypothetically,
Yeah.
but in terms of what it brought to your gaming experience, do you think it's worth it?
yeah. I mean, I only paid, it was $15, but I mean, it gave me about 15 hours of value.
Wow,
And
Buck
I mean,
an hour. That's good value.
that is
Yeah.
good value.
I mean, I thought it would end very abruptly at one point, but it didn't. It expanded it for another hour and a half.
Wow.
That was my only problem with it.
That was your problem with it? Why you like the ending that it was the abrupt ending?
I thought it was going to be an abrupt ending. I wasn't happy with it, but it felt like it was going to end
So
regardless.
How were you how did you like the ending? The actual ending?
The actual ending is fine. I mean, there's nothing special. It's just
nothing
whatever kind of
earth shattering or
You
anything.
can
Yeah.
probably see where it would be going.
I mean,
Okay.
it's like a poem, right? It's whatever. It's nothing crazy special. It's more of the art and whatever appreciated it is the gameplay, the actual gameplay of moving your character, slowing them down, and then like choosing who to slow down, who's
Yeah,
better
yeah.
at what.
It's all the gameplay. and
It's
the
all about
combat.
like switching your characters up. But I mean, yeah, I found it was just really good overall.
So what else did you play?
After that, I just turned off my PS4 because there's such a big backlog of PS3 games. So I started Batman Arkham City,
Oh yeah.
which
You never played it before, or
no, I haven't because it was free on PSN. I'm like,
City's
okay,
the good one, right? Origins is the shitty one.
Origins
Yeah.
is
They're
the
both
good
not great. But
Yeah.
City's better than Origins.
I agree with Matt. Although, I think review-wise, critically, City was well received
Yes.
as
one.
well.
It's just as much as Asylum, if
Exactly.
not maybe a little more or less.
Exactly.
Anyways.
Yeah, so City, I've been playing about an hour and a half. Nothing too much. I've gotten stuck a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I find like maybe I'm baby too much with like a lot of like things are just like not forced upon you, but like it's so obvious.
Spoon-fed.
You gotta go here, yeah. Whereas Batman doesn't really spoon feed you, and you gotta figure out where to go. I mean, I'm looking at the map and everything. That's fine.
Well, I'm sure
Don't you
there's
have
Need
to
the
use-
correct walkthrough.
yeah.
Don't you have to interrogate people and shit?
So far, no. I'm just
No,
stuck at
that's
like
later.
I'm trying to like find Joker, and I'm talking to Harley Quinn and whatever. I got stuck trying to find Joker. I thought I was supposed to just like jump on a ledge and just like jump towards him, but then like Harley Quinn's like, "Huh, you thought it would be that easy?" And I'm like,
oh,
"What?"
I remember that. I
and,
remember
like,
that.
and I'm like, "Ah, fuck it, let me turn it off." So
Fuck around.
Let me turn it off.
It's because inside of buildings they don't tell you exactly where, and there's multiple floors. So
Oh.
it gets really bad. But when you're outside, usually there'll just be like a big fucking beam of light for the
Yeah.
bat signal. You
Yeah.
just go right there, and that's it.
it's like I'm just like like it's very, I guess, jarring because like I'm moving around very like easily, but when I get into like an area, navigating seems a bit tougher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they do that often because they just give you the general area with the light. They're like, oh, he's in this spot.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
And then you gotta use your bat's vision
Or
or whatever.
detective
you
mode.
Well,
know,
hopefully the
detective
next one's
mode.
gonna be pretty sick.
Have you played Asylum?
I have, but it was such a long time ago, and I stopped at it. I stopped it at a certain point because my brother just commandeered the game,
Oh.
and I'm just like,
Should we beat him up?
I don't understand. I buy all the games. Play them first. I actually told them I want to play these games first if I'm buying them.
Hmm.
Anyway, so
I could play for an hour, then take it, but let me play for that hour.
I played Puppeteer also.
Yeah.
Oh,
on
very
PS3,
Oh yeah.
which is really nice because it kind of reminds me of Little Big Planet the way it's presented to you.
Mhm.
It's like a little like theater like puppet play, like one of those. What are they called? One of those like
It's
hand
a
puppets.
marionette.
Oh, that was the free one, right, for the PSN?
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at it. I can't.
But- Yeah. How long is that game supposed to be? I
I
always
have no
thought
clue.
it was just a download title, but it came out on disc.
It did come out of disc.
It's
Yeah,
a
I didn't
full
know
game.
that. Yeah,
From what I can tell.
but I always thought it was like a short little download title.
How big was the file when you downloaded it? 7?
But
8
yeah,
gigs?
about 6-7 gigs.
That's a lot.
Really, really well presented.
Really?
It's just really
Well, it's
well
supposed
done.
to be a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I heard like nothing of
Very
it.
well
Literally
received.
Exactly.
nothing.
Because
But it's a Sony game.
But it was
Yeah.
But Sony had this weird. Even when I was working at Best Buy, which was 3 years ago now, they just Sony had gone through this weird period of not marketing any of their games. I think they released SOCOM 4. Was it SOCOM 4? They didn't have any marketing behind it. Nothing. The
kinda
game was
weird.
horrible. And I would
It was.
condemn anyone who plays it because it's shitty.
Condemned.
Condemn
Bloodshot?
2. Yes.
Bloodshot.
It's a stealth game. It's a stealth series that they incorporate a lot of action elements into, which is a mistake.
SOCOM?
SOCOM 4.
I
Terrible.
thought you were talking about Condemned.
Condemned's
Keep
just
up, Adam.
weird. I played another 2 hours of.
Did you get past that part?
I'm
Yes,
surprised
I
you
finally
turned
did.
it back
Nice.
on.
Yeah, because my brother beat it. I'm like, how the fuck am I not able to like get past the first fucking dungeon?
Yeah,
It's
wait,
like-
no, not get past it. Find it.
Well,
You
in the
couldn't even
beginning,
find it.
I found it eventually, and I just couldn't get past it. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then I realized there's a zone where there's 3 doors, right? There's the boss door and then 2 side doors on left and right, and you have to open those side doors by hitting random orbs with your bow and arrow. and I couldn't for the life of me hit 2 of these. I'm like getting up onto the top ledge, trying to hit it at an angle, not happening. Turns out I just had to like go all the way at the end of the level and shoot it just horizontally.
Mhm.
But I just didn't find the angle
Before.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I played a bit of that, and I bought Kingdom Hearts Dream
Oh,
Oh,
really?
really? I'm
Dream
curious to
Dogs?
hear about
Dream
that.
Dogs.
No, it's a Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah.
It's 3D.
It's
It's
Stupid.
pretty good.
It's
is it?
a dumb name though.
It is
Anyways.
pretty stupid, but graphically, at least speaking, it's like a PS2 game.
Yeah.
So I mean, like going to Pokemon X and like
Yeah.
Zelda, those look like crap. Like those really do look like crap in comparison. I'm not knocking their art style, but like it's just probably one of the best, like the most graphically intense game you can see on a 3DS.
3DS, yeah.
Because it looks, it's supposed to serve as a prequel to Kingdom Hearts 3. So I figured that'll hype me up a bit once it comes out,
Yeah.
in like 2030. But then I don't even know.
I really want to try the Birth by Sleep when it comes out on
You
the
should.
PS3.
Definitely play it.
All right, Matt, what have you been playing?
Well, first I'd like to start off I think I figured out why the Wii didn't do as well later on in its run.
You.
Yeah, because no one gave a shit anymore.
No, well that's it. No one gave a shit because Japan fucked up hard.
Why? What do you mean?
Because apparently the only games they ever released that were good were in Japan, and then when they came here, it was like 2 years later.
So what does that matter?
That's
if
no
the
deal.
game was 2 years
But
later,
then-
it's still
that's
the
the
game.
game.
So that's it. But then they would never advertise it when it came here.
Of course.
I'm sure. But that's it. I played a few of them so far. This is what the game I'm playing.
What, you're trying to find old Wii games?
No,
that are
I
good?
just found it because I went upstairs and my brother had them,
Your
and he has them like the last story. It was by Seed.
Yes.
your brother never tells you anything. Eh?
No, whatever. Anyways, so the last of
buys all these good
I'll
Wii
put it
games and
back
doesn't
in the
tell him
box.
anything.
the last story was made by Seed.
Okay.
They did Killer is Dead, but they never
Yeah.
advertised the last story for the Wii. I'm like, what is all the advertising for this? It came out 2 years after it came out in Japan. That's when it
Yeah.
came out here.
Is that the prequel to The Last of Us?
No, it is not. It is the
It
sequel.
is.
The last seed.
Funny story. The last story is meant to be a something. Can't think of the word.
Porno?
Doesn't matter. A porno of Final Fantasy. The last story of
Oh.
Final Fantasy, because it's the
Oh,
same
wow.
creator of the original
Oh.
Final Fantasy who's working
Oh,
on
it
the
is.
Oh,
last
it's that guy, the guy that made the
Yeah.
Blue Dragon.
Yes.
That's why I
it's
thought it was
Blue
Square
Balls.
Enix at first, but it's
Balls.
actually just called
Well,
Seed.
he has that, but he hasn't made that.
Anyway, so I'm
Yet.
playing a
Yet.
new one that's by
Okay.
Seed that he just happened to have.
Yeah.
It's called Pandora's Tower.
Oh,
Okay.
very nice.
Again,
Is that
never
like-
advertised.
Is that just a sexual euphemism?
No,
or-
it's an actual Pandora. There's actually like
Pandora's
13
Tower.
towers. And the entire tower is like
I get it.
into one castle, so it's like, it's weird. Should be Pandora's Castle.
No, because they know Pandora's box, but Pandora's Tower.
I know, that's why. They literally referenced that.
It's a
They
cock
said
in a
you're
box.
opening up,
Yeah.
Like in a box.
It's probably
But they should
a
change the name of
allegory.
Hilltop, too.
I guess, but it's much. Anyways, came out again I think it came out here in like 2011.
Yeah, it came out.
Came out in
2009.
Japan like 2009, 2010. I'm like, it looks like shit now. Like,
Well,
graphically looking.
All Wii games look like shit.
Well, that's it, but this one looks like it was really not that great. If they would have released it here immediately, it might have
Yeah.
done better.
Okay.
And if they advertised, like, I've never heard of this fucking game before.
No.
It's amazing. I'm having so much fun
Well,
with it.
okay. Well, the last story is obviously an RPG, right? What's
Yeah.
the Pandora's Tower?
It's an RPG as well, but
Does
it's
it play the same
simpler.
way, or-
No, because you're one person, you're not a team,
Okay.
so it goes a little faster. It's like a hack and slash, but it's very story driven, I guess.
Like Neo Geo? Not Neo Geo. I mean Shining Force Neo.
Geo.
I've never played that, so I would not know.
You never played Shining Force Neo? It's like it's an RPG, but it's a hack and slash.
It's actually a lot more like Rygar. I don't know if you've ever played that.
No.
Where you have a guy, it's sort of before God of War, where he shoots like a chain.
Well, that's it. He has a chain as his like weapon that you can hook
Chain
people with,
hands.
and it's good because it has a dynamic. to it.
Edward Chain Hands.
You can hook their legs, their body, or their
You
head.
can huff their legs.
You can hook. What's
Okay.
wrong with you?
I heard huff.
What the fuck is wrong with you? I huff paint. I huff paint all day long.
I don't
It's
know.
true, Adam. What is wrong with you?
No, you can
Adam
hook-
Wrongton, though.
You can hook their legs, their body, or their
Well
head
played.
because they
Okay.
attack different ways.
Yeah.
But then you could also shoot it a second time. So you could hook their legs and then hook their head, or their arms. So they're like you actually see them get attached to themselves, and they just stop attacking. But then you can just go beat the shit out of them
Mm.
with a sword,
Okay.
2 daggers, or you get like a giant scythe.
Interesting.
That sounds exciting.
Cool.
It does.
That is pretty exciting.
But it's just that it gets
That
a little
actually
repetitive.
with an
sounds-
exclamation point.
That actually sounds exciting.
Ah.
That didn't work out.
That was-
very
that
well.
was
Alright, I'll
weak.
give, I'll
But,
give you
What
that.
are you talking about?
I don't know. That was weak. But anyways, you're also based on a time limit. Because there's this girl that's in your party. Well, that's with you. She's
I
back.
thought you said you were alone.
You are, because you're only one person. Like, you're only
That's the
controlling one
definition of
person.
being alone.
Wait.
So most of the game, you're essentially by yourself fighting. But when you get back there, it's because she's got like some sort of curse on her. She turns into a demon.
Mhm.
And while you're in the tower, there's a bar that ticks. And when she goes full demon, you lose.
Mhm.
So you have to keep getting monster meat, which she ends up eating.
Never
The
go
thing
full
is-
demon.
She comes from like a race of vegetarians, which is so weird. Like they've never had meat before, so she finds it.
So vegetarians are demons.
Apparently, but she had to eat
Confirmed.
meat. But she had to eat meat to get better.
She had to eat meat
Yes.
to get better.
Demon meat, which is so
Oh man, has
weird.
PETA ever heard about this?
I know. Honestly,
Demon meat.
it's the strangest beginning, and then it's like this big hunk of meat,
So wait.
and she's just taking bites of raw meat. I'm just like, she hates it at
Amazing.
The
first.
thing is, no,
There's a
you
life
wouldn't-
lesson right
you
here.
wouldn't
There
like
is, yeah.
demon- You wouldn't like demon meat. You'd rather have demon souls.
No, but there is. There's demon souls too, and that gives
Oh
you
my
experience.
God.
I'm like, well, this
Like
game.
demon souls too. Like
Yeah.
They progress it nicely because after a while, she actually starts to like the meat, and you can see the expression on her face change every time she eats it. Like she'll get happier or she'll go more crazy hungry
Mhm.
for it. It's just to feed the demon that's in her, I guess, to keep it at bay. But
Mm.
it's just funny that she
think
comes from a race of vegetarians, and you gotta feed her meat to keep her good.
It's so weird.
I heard good things about it.
Yeah, I
too.
know it's really fun though. It's actually really
I
very
wish-
Final Fantasy-esque because it's made by Seed, of course, the guys who made.
Well, no, it's
everything
published by
else.
Seed.
Published.
I thought it was Xseed.
It's
Wasn't
Xseed,
there a
yeah.
company called Xseed? Yeah.
I think it might be
It's the
one.
same company.
Oh,
Yeah.
Anyways, Sean, what have you been playing?
It just says Seed on the game though. It's like there's no like.
Dose?
2 games,
Oh,
which I will try to compile into one. No, I'm
You're
not
playing
gonna do
charades?
It works.
Okay, both games. One was Azura's Wrath.
okay.
The other one was Limbo. I'm going to start with Limbo because I think people will be excited about that.
I have played it as well.
Fantastic. I
Well-
actually, because another friend of ours, Richard, who spoils literally everything for me, everything.
I call him to make sure he
I think
spoils
he,
everything
I think
for
he
you.
might have ruined the ending to Limbo, and if you didn't, Richard, I'm sorry, but I just attributed you to ruining the ending to
I'm
Limbo.
pretty sure he did.
But I can't remember it, so it's good.
I haven't beat it.
Very
Until,
nice.
until you
Spoil
see
it.
it and you're like, oh yeah, now I remember.
Oh,
Thanks, Richard.
It actually is a fantastic game. Although I think it falls into the category of it being another indie game,
Hmm.
which is weird.
Well, it
In
is.
that
yeah.
it's aesthetically, it's beautiful,
Hmm.
absolutely beautiful. For people who don't know what it is, it's a black and white game. It's got this, but they do like these particle effects really nicely. It's got this sort of like filmy kind
It's
of
got
granular,
nice presentation.
very nice presentation. But it just feels like a very simple game at heart. You know, very basic, almost something that can be on a phone. Very basic, sort
Yeah.
of jumpy, and like pushing
Till
blocks. And
you encounter the spider.
yes, and it was frightening. 'Cause
Scared the shit out of me.
I actually hate spiders. Hate them.
Hyperactive arachnophobia.
The
engaged.
premise of it is imagine it's sort of like a kind of.
It's your worst nightmare.
I go as far as to say obtuse because you don't really know what's happening with Mario game, where it's just a really long level where you're moving from left to right. There's occasionally platforms that you need to push or some sort of physics-based puzzles that you need to operate, but there's always this sense of dread or fear because the environment is working against you and you end up dying in these very gruesome ways sometimes. It's like a bear trap will clasp
Mhm.
over you and your
And your
body will
head
get...
falls off.
Exactly, or a spider will sort of wedge its prong through you and you'll... Or
That's the
leg-
worst part.
Yeah, terrible. Frightening.
Because they're unpredictable.
Yes,
And once you get near them, you don't know where that point is where they strike, and then
Yeah.
they just spear you through the head.
exactly.
There's nothing
I
you can
noticed
do
that.
about it.
It's
I'm
like Tomb Raider.
I'm
Yeah.
playing it on my
Right through the
Vita,
face.
so it's dark when I'm
You're just
playing.
yelling every time on the bus.
And I actually feel like I'm sweating when I'm
Mm.
playing because you're always very tense.
Are
Which
you
is
sure it's not just too hot outside?
Him wearing his like white beater.
this is what I wear to work. No, I don't wear
It's,
this.
it's very similar to the feeling I got from playing Bioshock.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
is. It is, and it
Because-
does it very well. The atmosphere feels very oppressive.
Yeah. You
It's-
don't
It's amazing.
like things aren't gonna happen, but you think they are,
Exactly.
and that's the scariest part.
And in real life, not in real life, but in video games, I'm afraid of water in video games,
In
and I'm
real
afraid
life,
of
I'm
water
afraid
in
of
Limbo.
Mm.
This is just like a tangent thing, but it's funny that you mentioned it. It's almost like it's an indie game.
Yeah,
And
which
they
you
just-
which you did a
Yeah,
post on.
yeah. I was gonna
Yeah.
say that. It's an amazing game, but it feels like an indie game. You know, has
It
that
does.
indie feel.
It does.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's the same with Bastion and all that, right? They were all.
Yeah, but see, like the
Indie
It's
indie
very
game.
simple in its
Yeah,
premise. Kind
exactly.
It feels like it belongs on the Super Nintendo.
See, the
Yeah.
thing is, what indie games usually tend to do is they have one or two or three main mechanics,
Yeah.
and then they focus on making those as best as they can, whereas bigger budget games tend to have all these crazy mechanics trying to work together in unison, and sometimes they get pulled off well, sometimes they don't. But in indie games, since there's so few mechanics, it's a lot easier to perfect that and actually get a good experience out of it.
But even less than that, it actually feels like it's Mario. in a very basic sense.
Yeah, but Mario doesn't have that many mechanics. I mean, you run, you jump, you get to the end
Right,
of the level.
there's
nothing
No, but you
wrong
get all
there.
sorts of superpowers. Fucking mushrooms. He's all hopped up in
Yeah, but
mushrooms.
the original, like Mario's. I'm not talking about the new ones that exacerbate.
Well, there was
things
the
with all
red
kinds of
shells
crazy
that did
stuff.
something different. The green shells did something different.
Yeah, but that was not in the original one.
What it does well, it does enormously well, but it's not Hotline Miami,
No.
which is also an indie game, which it doesn't ever feel for a moment that it should be belittled for being an indie game. Like Hotline Miami is just such a superb game in every conceivable way.
Have you played that yet, Dodds?
No.
You
Oh,
need to get out
Everyone
there.
keeps
so
telling
good.
me to play.
When
So
you're
good.
talking about just like going around murdering things and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, you should just play Hotline
It
Miami.
honestly,
So good.
honestly, and I'm very contrarian. I don't like anything that's popular, which is sad. But whatever, it is what it is.
Hipster.
It is a little bit. But I love Hotline Miami in every way. The story is very unusual, very surreal. The music is brilliant. The art style is amazing. And it's not too long, which is important because a lot of games are too long and I don't like
I
that.
still like how you get the rooster mask and it's called Cox.
Yeah.
Or
You get
Richard.
different, you get
I got
different
the
masks
branded
on
mask.
before each
The
level to
branded
give you
mask,
different
yeah.
powers, but the game plays like GTA in smaller levels. The earlier
Top-down
GTAs,
GTAs.
Yeah.
amazing.
I have seen
So the original
footage.
GTAs.
But
Very good.
see, like the thing is, like with Hotline Miami, you can take your time with it.
Yeah.
You can go through the whole level taking your time with it, but then you kind of lose like the fun out of it. It's not as fun.
Yeah,
as
isn't it like
go
super
fast.
hyperactive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the
Very.
point is to play the game really quick, and then it just like it's such a rush.
Mm.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
a huge rush to play
The music
game
is
and win.
absolutely
Yeah, the
brilliant.
music's fantastic.
Brilliant.
I-
Sorry?
I just lent GTA 5 to Joe,
Yeah.
Oh.
and like I went to his house the other day. I was like, "So, how you doing in GTA 5?" I'm like, "Are you playing the story?" He's like, "I was until I got distracted for 2 hours blowing shit up." I'm like, "Yeah, it sounds about right."
So good. I actually think that GTA 5 would be one of my games of last year. It's just
Yeah.
so polished in every way.
It is very good.
Well deserving of its critical and commercial acclaim.
Yeah.
Anyways, the other game I was playing, Asura's Wrath, which is kind of strange. It plays a lot like a anime, which means that you're watching just as much as you're playing, which is kind of a detriment for a lot of people, but I enjoy it because the story is convincing. You're essentially like this. I think it plays to like Buddhist religion. I'm not sure. It's sort of a Japanese game from the Japanese perspective, but a lot of it has Buddhist roots in it. And it's sort of like God of War, where you're a god or a demigod who's been betrayed by other demigods and you go around killing them. Kind of the gist of it. But it's also very melodramatic because the Japanese love melodrama. But it also has a very frenetic feel to it. You're constantly doing something very, very exciting. Always. And I think that that's to its strength, because a lot of games end up diluting their core experience by these, even in The Last of Us, for example, where you'd be playing and then all of a sudden the game needs to load, and so you're just walking, and you're walking for like whatever, 15 seconds. And then obviously there's going to be witty banter, but you feel that at the very same time that it's sort of taking away from the momentum of it. Whereas Asura's Wrath never has that. It's always very fast. There's a lot of quick time events, which a lot of people don't really like. There's a lot of brawling elements to it. It's just a really fun game that I don't think ever needs to be replicated.
Who made it?
Cyber 2 Connect. Who
Oh,
did
okay, yeah, the Naruto games
So
and stuff. Yeah.
Cyber
Well, that's
Connect
it.
2.
Thank you.
Because I'd watched it. I watched the guy play it because I didn't feel like playing fighting games.
Yeah.
And I showed it to him. And the way
Yeah.
he played it, like the way it's played, it's absolutely amazing. Because the way he fights, like you'll be in a fight, it'll be like a Dragon Ball kind of thing, right? You can fly around, you can come at each other and you fight. But then all of a sudden, he'll blast you away, and then it just goes into like, you're zoomed up, but they're still talking, you're still like free moving, whatever. Then you gotta go into a quick time event to get closer to him. Then as soon as you get close to him, you gotta charge up by smashing buttons that just come flying on
Yeah.
the screen.
So it's like Shenmue.
Well, not
No,
really.
not really, but
Have you ever... This is going to be taking everyone away from the core, but JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like
Yeah.
that very eccentric feeling. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is supposed to be a very, very eccentric feel to it. It's very uncompromising in a very good way. You know, a lot of games feel compromised. I'm thinking back now. BioShock doesn't feel that compromised in its vision. The ending is a bit whatever, but the rest of the game is so brilliant. Asura's Wrath. is
The
very
ending
similar.
of the Bioshock grand scheme wise with the new one, it's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Oh, you're talking
Also
about the
You
DLC
really
or
like to see
whatever?
it. Completes it all together.
And
Fucking
so
blows your goddamn
Oh,
mind.
it does.
it does, yeah.
Quite mind blowing.
So I would recommend it to people who are looking for something they've never played before,
Mhm.
except for games
But
that
it's a
have a lot
fighter.
of quick. Yeah, well, it kind of it is, but it isn't.
Well, it has the fighting elements. You need
It
to
does.
learn how to actually fight them
Yes, of
properly and
course.
dodge shit. And
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
All right. Well, mine's a little quick. I'm still playing Ogame,
Time
right?
event. Sorry.
Yes, I'm still playing Ogame, which is that like free to play like Space Empire game on. It's not a cell phone game, but it's just like a browser free to play game, whatever. It's like Facebook without it being on Facebook.
Like Flash?
No, it's literally it's just a browser. It's not even a flash game. It's just
nothing happens.
the browser. It's just pictures, and you have an empire, and blah blah blah. Anyways,
You are really selling us on this game.
It's really a text-based game.
just for the people that don't know. Anyways, which is David. Anyways, so basically, I'm in my solar system, right? And when I was asleep or whatever, I got attacked by the guy in my solar system, and it boils down to the fact like, are you really gonna shit where you eat? Like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Are you like, I sent him a message, I'm like, really, with a question mark? Did you just do that? And then he's like, yeah, I'm taking over this system. And I just laugh at him, and he sends ships at me. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not enough. So I send my ships, and they got there before his did, and then I blew up his entire like fleet. And I'm like, and then I'm just like, yeah, and then he doesn't like do anything for a little while. I'm like, he's licking his wounds or whatever. I'm not gonna fucking wreck his ass. Like, I was pissed. I was like, I'm gonna wreck this guy. I'm gonna make him quit. Because, like, he's not taking over this shit. He's a full shit. And then he sends me a message. He's like, good fight, man. I'm actually, the only reason I just needed to do something because I'm going to quit soon because I'm getting bored. And you just happen to be the closest person. So I'm like, oh. And he's like, oh, and so I'm going to send you, like, the rest of my resources for my planet. I'm like, oh, shit. I was super pissed. Like, super pissed. And I wanted to wreck his face. And then it was just like, oh, wow, look at that.
That reminds me.
He's the anti-troll. He fucks with you so that you will troll him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm quitting before you can fuck me."
As a quick aside, you use a lot of expressions that I don't think are expressions. Am I wrong? I'm just not familiar with a lot of them. Like wrecking his ass.
I don't know. I've never heard anyone say that. It's a very popular expression. In the game.
You wreck ass.
I railed his ass.
You wreck his ass. It's a very, very explicit.
Yeah.
And
You never wrecked
specific.
anyone.
But you know exactly what I'm saying.
Like, he can't. That guy won't be walking for centuries.
Right, exactly. Because you imagine exactly. There's a lot of
He needs to go to the doctor to fix that rectal prolapse.
Rectum.
Right. Onto some discussions.
I was actually gonna say it kind of reminds me of RuneScape because I used to play that like to death in high school.
Yeah,
in high school. Anyway, sometimes I log on like once a year.
The original or the new one?
Well, the new one, but I have all like the crazy things that like people like go crazy over, and I have crazy. Okay?
That made me crazy.
Well done.
Like I have this Halloween item from like 2003 that it wasn't like a tradable item. It's just a scythe.
Okay.
So I walk around with that, and people just stop and stare at me, like literally just stop. Like, how'd you get that? What is
I've
that?
been playing this a long time.
11 years ago.
And they'll try to kill you when you're in the neutral zone.
And it's like, no, you can't get it. It's non-collectible.
Ah.
Fucking trolls.
Amazing.
RuneScape is just filled with trolls, and it's hilarious.
So, Brandon, Another World is coming to PS3, PS4, and Vita.
Well, like
Vita?
Oh, that
on
game.
June 25th.
Yes.
That is perfect.
That's a game with the graphics that you were talking about?
Yeah, like the rotoscope crazy ass graphics.
The game with the graphics.
The game with
The
the
game
graphics.
with the blue and the
Yes.
Sound
Evil
like-
and the things.
Yeah, I was going to say you sound like fucking Bill Cosby.
the blue and the things. I can't
The Jell-O pudding!
can't do it. Nope. David got it.
All right, anyways, yeah, so that's coming out on June 25th. So I just saw it. I figured.
How much is it retail?
I don't know the price. I just saw
$38.99.
Well, the bigger question is how big is the file size going to be? Because that would be a permanent
It's
fixture.
about 2,000
Kilobytes.
Blocks.
Blocks.
Yeah.
Perfect. I know exactly what that is.
Anyways, so Destiny is actually a PlayStation exclusive in Japan. But it's really funny. A couple of days prior to that announcement, Microsoft sent out, Microsoft Japan sent out a couple, or Xbox Japan sent out some tweets or whatever about Destiny. And then a few days later, it's just not coming to Xbox. And then people on like the 4chan of Japan or whatever were just like blasting Microsoft because their PR department's moronic.
There's no market for. I don't think there's a market for like Microsoft in Japan.
At that point, some people in Japan were just like, "What's the point? Like, are you like, if this is happening now, and because like it has an entire year up on." The PS4 has an entire year up on the Xbox One. Is it going to get any foothold? I mean, like, at least the 360 came out before the PS3 did in Japan. And, like, there was a fair, it was a small fan base, it was a modest fan base, but there were people that played 360 in Japan. But are they even going to see that with the Xbox One? Do you think?
I still have, and it's probably a misconception, I'm probably completely wrong in this, but I would see myself going to Japan and everyone looking at me, that kind of feeling of, sure, you can visit it, but you can't live there, that kind of a weird, and I'm probably completely wrong, but that's sort of my perception of it. You know, like you feel like an outsider, whereas if people were to come here, you wouldn't ever feel like something like that, right? But I'm trying to get at is that they're very wary of outsider technology, outsider products.
They're very domestic. All right, last up, Nordic Games. Ever heard of those guys?
Yes.
Really?
I own 73% of their.
I
stock.
believe they're based in Yukon.
They're
Sweden.
Austrian.
That's true.
I'm a spoiler for
No,
everybody.
they're Austrian. Anyways, they're going to publish games under the THQ label because they bought the rights to the name THQ.
Well,
And because people, when this is funny because I was looking it up before, and when they bought the rights, when they bought some of the stock or bought some of the licenses from the THQ bankruptcy, people were like, "Who the fuck is Nordic Games?" So they're like, "You know what? They have a point. So we're just going to publish games under
That's
THQ
smart,
because everyone knows that."
It's true.
And they also, alongside, they bought the Darksider license. They bought the Red Faction one. They also bought
Very nice.
MX versus ATV ones.
Well, I don't care
see,
about
the thing
last
is,
one, but
why didn't we buy the license, buy the name THQ, and we could have been the THQ podcast?
Why didn't we imagine?
that's very true. It would have
The
cost like
THQ
30
podcast.
cents.
It would have been.
I have an old
legends.
THU shirt. We take a picture of it, use it as our logo.
That would have been horrible.
It would have been like $5 to buy the name THQ.
I'm pretty sure Nordic
I'm
Games
sure
spent
it
a
was
little more
more
than
than
$5.
Tepid and huge in Quebec. There we go. Abstract enough that the
What?
artistic community
Tepid
would...
and huge in Quebec, THQ.
That might
Oh.
conflict with the gay bar scene.
Well, we would sell to them, right? And then we'd have a lot of those types of people.
Get a lot of like
We'd
bondage
sell
gear.
to the gay
I'm cool with
bars.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah, there we
On a
go.
rainbow
It's
colored
like the
shirts.
first episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
The gang gets racist.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
one's so bad, though.
where they had the
Holy
gay
shit.
bar, but they realized, holy crap, we're a gay bar.
So I took him out back and tore his ass apart.
They wrecked his ass.
Wrecked his ass. Anyways,
Wrecked him.
the only thing... Wrecked him?
Oh god!
I don't even know him.
That's the name of the podcast right now. Rectum.
Wrecked him.
Wrecked him.
Wrecked
You
him.
just met him.
No, I was going to do something else. Anyways, no, the only thing that they've actually done that I could recognize was that they published Alan Wake on PC in Europe.
Wow.
I know, right?
But the thing is,
What
we
do you
are not.
freaking do?
In
Yo,
Europe.
I'm just saying.
that is
They
impressive.
published-
What were its sales in
As
Europe?
developers, they have proven themselves.
No,
to be-
I think they're literally just a publishing house. They don't develop anything.
that was complete and utter sarcasm that you destroyed.
God damn it, Adam. Again.
Just trying to point out the facts.
They published.
So the question of the week is going to be, right now, next-gen games are pretty much the same as their last-gen counterparts with prettier graphics. What do you think in the years to come will really start differentiating last generation from the now generation?
Virtual reality.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's still
But,
just
I mean,
better
like-
graphics.
No, because they have the headsets and stuff like
It's a
that. Yeah,
different gameplay.
it'll be more immersive, right? So
More
yeah, that'll
peripherals.
change stuff, but if it picks up, then yeah, for sure. But
That's
not
the only
every
thing that's-
game.
That's the only thing that's gonna get different.
Yeah, I think better
Smells.
stories.
I think we spoke about that last time.
Smells.
Smells.
Yeah.
Smell
It's
it.
funny how
Yeah, you
this
can smell the
all
blood.
relates. I don't think VR is going to really
Well,
make that much of a difference.
It might not. It depends if it picks up or not. I think it's going to be story, to be honest. I think, well, not necessarily
Outlast
just the
VR.
story. I think all the writing is going to get a lot better.
Really?
Like, because right now some games are really good, some games are really up there. Like, but there are certain studios that do like the better work. It's not like individual games here. I think it's a studio as a whole tends to produce these types of games, right? Now, I think it's just there's gonna be better writing. There's gonna be more natural humor, better character development, it's stuff that make movies good in games. That's what I think is going to really differentiate, because a lot of the stories in PS3 games or 360 games is like almost negligible. Like, you don't even have to pay attention half the time.
I think indie games are just going to destroy.
Yeah.
Like, financially destroy. They're just going to make shit tons of money.
because of their overhead is just exponentially lower
Yeah.
than like this multi-billion-dollar company.
It's just like movies. Like you have like what's his name?
Indie movies do not do well.
No, but look, how about Robert Rodriguez with his like $13,000 El Mariachi? We're
Yeah,
in the
that's
same
because
era.
of his name, man.
No, this is his first movie.
Really?
Yeah, this is his first. He paid 13. He
It's
put
true.
He put down $13,000, and he made a movie based or surrounding, or actually based on what he had. It's like, I have these props, I have these actors. Let me make a movie around what I have,
Really?
based upon what strengths I have. Whereas indie developers are doing the exact same thing, at least from what I'm thinking.
When did that movie start making money though?
When?
Immediately.
Pretty much.
Whiskey.
What was that other movie with Mel Gibson where he killed?
Patriot.
No, it was a post-apocalyptic movie.
Men Who Stare at Goats.
That was not.
Men who
That
stare
is
at
post-apocalyptic.
We should make a game called Men Who Stare at Goat Simulator.
And make a lot of money off of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways,
That could be a YouTube
proportionally. I also think indie games are going to be doing very well. I also think that, and I read an article on this, which is pretty interesting, asymmetrical multiplayer.
What's that?
Well, you know how you have symmetrical multiplayer 4-on-4, asymmetrical like creature.
Oh,
or is it
4 on
Evolve?
1. Yeah. Evolve.
And the new Rainbow Six is also going to have asymmetrical multiplayer.
Oh, really?
And that's kind of cool. I think that that's kind of neat. Assassin's Creed, the new Assassin's Creed, is a 4-player cooperative experience.
Okay.
That is encouraged.
Hence the
games,
Unity.
Thank you. A lot of the games that are going to have
Shitty bar.
single player have these like live streaming elements to it, right? There's that sort of social media element that's incorporated into it. And there's going to be a lot of this whole you playing with other people again kind of
Which
feeling.
I fucking hope to God.
Well, co-op, man.
But
Everyone
I'm
loves
moving-
co-op.
But yeah, co-op, sure. But I'm saying that there is going to be an element of you playing. Even David has mentioned that he's playing at work with different people on the PS4.
Yeah.
That is something that should be captured in every single developer who should be making games.
Communication needs to be incorporated into multiplayer.
Definitely. A transparency when making games. Far Cry 4, for example, is going to incorporate like a free element where you don't have to own Far Cry 4. You can play bits of it with other people.
Yeah.
That's cool. There's going to be a lot of that, I hope, in the years to come with,
Yeah.
with the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Wii U.
Imagine having to be Robin. Just
I
coming
feel
in
like-
the game. I don't want to be Robin. What the fuck is this?
That's going to be kind of cool, though.
I feel like
Yeah,
as
Red Hood.
a jump off point to what you're saying is that there's just way too many games in general, and that it's almost hard to market yourself.
Yeah, there's just too much stuff.
Like you have to like really like put like 60 to 70% of your budget into marketing
Mhm.
to become viable.
Yeah.
You know, to make money. Like
Look
look
too
at all.
many people on this planet.
Yeah.
We need a new plague.
We need to make games for like the third world and expand in that market.
Yeah.
Like China.
No. Africa somewhere.
The other third world.
No, I'm saying that China, they tried to incorporate a console into it, and I don't think they allowed it or something.
That was made by China. No.
I don't know. I can't
It's made in
remember. That,
China.
like something.
All right. Anyways, Matt, Brandon, David, do you have any?
No.
Not
I just
really.
remember the stupid sphere that they kept making in a few years back when the next Xbox was supposed to come out. They had
Sphere.
720 or whatever it was. They were joking about. It's just a giant.
Oh, those.
Like that was awesome. It's just a
Wait.
floating ball that just created like
You mean
game.
the
I know it's
PlayStation
gonna
9.
change.
Like, the
generation.
PlayStation 9 or whatever. Yeah.
I know it's gonna change this generation.
What?
Half-Life 3.
It's not necessarily change it. I just think what is going to differentiate this one from
Yeah.
the last.
And increasingly striving to be more professional,
Steam
right?
box.
So
Yeah.
better writing in video games, tighter game design that doesn't feel bloated. So the Assassin's Creed can exist because it's Assassin's Creed, but a lot of the Call of Duties, for example, are going to have to compete with Battlefield now in ways that are going to require them to be inventive. New game modes, something more experimental.
Someone's gonna have to break away and reinvent instead of releasing the same cookie cutter game
Mhm.
over and
Yeah.
over again. Because that's what
Yeah.
we're, that's
I
what we're
feel-
stuck
But the
in
problem
right
is
now.
the problem is people keep buying them. So
Exactly.
until people stop,
Sheep.
yeah,
I think we're expecting too much from just gaming in general.
yeah,
Like,
maybe.
Like it's a medium it's already reached this point. Like
Yeah.
like movies can't get
Do you
much
think
better.
it's peaked?
Like, not really.
It's never gonna peak, but like unless you come out with a completely new platform.
Well, yeah. Right now it can't. It's not peaked well because the virtual reality is coming out.
World of
right?
Warcraft peaked. No one thought that was ever going to peak.
Okay, it's World of Warcraft.
And
I mean,
But I'm sort of positing that we look at this not as consumers, but as analysts, right? Because you can say, okay, fine, the industry has peaked, which I agree. I mean, the fact that, what's his face, Wolfenstein came out not long ago for the PS4, and it's a throwback to a PC title, shows that the industry hasn't really reached a state of maturity. But I'm just curious as to what trends we'll see more of that'll define this generation.
That throwback was from 2 decades ago. It's not like they threw back from 5 years ago.
But I'm saying the
The
fact that this
franchise
product
is
can exist in the current generation, which is the PS4,
Yeah.
Xbox One, is strange.
No, but I mean, it came out for there were There was a PS2 Wolfenstein. There was a PS3 Wolfenstein prior to that. No,
I don't know. Was there?
maybe not a
PS3?
PS2. There's a PS3 one. Yeah,
Was
it was like a Return to Castle Wolfenstein, or it was like I don't know. I can't remember. It came out a few 3 or 4 years ago.
I'm just saying that, I mean, like, as a medium, like, comparing it to, like, music, TV, movies, books, how much better can gaming get? It's only going to be very, slight and incremental. It's not going to get much.
It will be the
It's-
mechanics.
Because, like,
mostly.
movies
But it's
are
always
movies, right?
incremental.
It is, but I know, but there were bigger leaps before. Now it seems like it's slowing down.
I mean, but
that's
then
all.
the same argument can be brought to like everything. I mean,
Yeah.
television. Give me an example of something that was revolutionary in television.
color.
No, I mean, that's...
No, but beyond.
These are all big steps. Like,
But
okay,
you see what I'm saying? Like Netflix was huge. I mean, the fact that it's
That was
Was
a
it?
new platform, though.
Honestly, I still never.
yeah, I guess you're right then. But then PlayStation 4
But
seems
look,
like it
even
could
for
be.
Netflix. My brother wanted to get it. He made a big fuss about getting it. I'm like, I have the internet. I don't need Netflix.
No, but I'm saying the fact that Arrested Development came out and the entire season was available to immediately is unprecedented, and that speaks to a new platform. But then, isn't the new generation of consoles a new platform in some capacity?
I feel like maybe what's
Right,
going to
that's what I'm trying
happen
to get at.
is that the games are going to get divided into, like, DLC pieces. Like, here's part 1, just like The Walking Dead. I feel like that's what's going to
Episodic?
happen. It's going to be
I
episodic,
hate
and
that.
well, it's good and it's bad because, like,
It's fucking shit.
Well,
No.
it's good for the majority of consumers who don't want to invest $60 in a
yeah,
product that they
you
won't
pay
ever
like
play.
$15. Here's part 1. Okay, I didn't
Yeah,
like
but
it. I won't buy part
It's like
2.
movies, right? Like I don't want to wait another year just to watch the last.
No,
part
but it's
of,
not
like-
going to be a weekly. It's not going to be like a yearly thing.
But it was. It
It's
was a
just-
long time.
no,
like for
Look at The Walking Dead, though. It wasn't like a yearly thing.
No, but between each game too, it took forever to get.
No,
to
it was
the
a
next
few
I'm
game.
weeks.
watching
It was
that now,
like
don't
2 or
worry
3
about
months.
No, to get to the
No,
next
not the
game.
show.
They're talking about the
video
games.
No,
There's
but
a
to get
game?
from
Yeah,
Walking
which
Dead
is
1 to
amazing.
Walking Dead 2.
And it's really good.
It is amazing. But see, that's the
I'm
thing, right? Because what happens as a developer or a publisher, I guess, or whatever the dynamic is, you're creating a video game. Rather than creating 100% of it and then selling it, you can create 20% of it, get money back for that while you're developing.
Reinvest it, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise, if there's no demand for it, then at least you've only invested 20% potentially out of 100%.
But then say it falls short, right? Are
Then,
they just gonna release that one like they did
exactly,
with Shenmue, right?
because
Like all of a sudden, Shenmue's no longer
but so
a game anymore.
this is the dynamic right now. You're a consumer. I'm a developer. If I'm willing to put in 100%, and you're only willing, like only a small majority of you are willing to give me back that money, then I've absorbed all of the risk in this relationship, and you've absorbed none of it. Whereas if I put in 20%, then the assumption is that there's going to be a community of people who are going to self-market
But
the
then they
game.
should just start Kickstarter.
Just like I was just gonna
Yeah,
say,
but
that sounds like Kickstarter.
But Kickstarter is so past now. I feel like it's not
Well,
a
there's another
platform
one.
that's viable for so many people
Yeah,
right
because
now.
there's so much shit comes on Kickstarter.
And then it passes, and then like, oh, would you look at that? I have no management experience. I put all this money
Yeah.
into jerking off into a tub and not properly
There's a lot
planned
of
this project, so it's fallen through. You know, like that's just disappointing too, because a lot of these people don't have the business background to create products. They need that.
Some do,
infrastructure.
but a lot don't.
Exactly.
I think episodic content is smart.
I think that there's a market for it. I don't think that every game should be episodic. I agree with you, but I think that there is a market for it, and The Walking Dead has run with it.
Well, it's
Telltale
just
Games,
Telltale, yeah.
but they've made a really good point.
They're the people that do that, though.
they-
Not a lot of people do
The
that.
thing is, Telltale has learned from their mistakes. Like, they've made a bunch of mistakes, but like The Walking Dead is like a prime example of what they've learned and what they've improved on. Like,
Yeah.
that seems like the pinnacle. That seems like the
Well, what did they do before that? They did Back to the Future,
Yeah.
and they did
it was just
Sam and
crap.
Max.
Jurassic Park. Sam and Max, I
Really
paid $1 for.
Did they do Sam and Max?
What I'm
Yeah,
trying to
they
get
did.
at, what I'm trying to get at though is imagine this: you release 20% of your game, people start talking about it, people are buying the game right while you're talking.
But they're
about
also charging immediately for full price
the thing
for
is,
all of it.
That's the thing.
it. Cheaper though, so it's up
Slightly.
to you as an investor to put in
That's
your
it,
money
but that's what I'm
into the
saying.
product.
Just like either do a Kickstarter or just sell the full game right away.
But no, but
that's what they
Kickstarter
do.
is a different type of investor. This
Well,
is like
It's still the same investor because
No, but look,
Kickstarter is
the game-
mostly early birds.
Yeah, no. Kickstarter is looking for a different sort of investment. When you release the game in this sort of episodic format, you're not looking for investors. You had the capital to make part of the game, and then you branch it off, okay? So you sell that first part to get more capital to continue making the game. If it doesn't sell, what's the point of continuing it, Matt?
I guess,
See,
but
like
I
for
still-
example, like the Witcher series. I've been reading a lot of Reddit. You might have
Yeah.
read this too. But the Witcher series, they put enough money into Witcher 1. They made enough money to make the Witcher 2 and
Now
more.
they have even
and
more
now they have
money.
Witcher
Yeah.
3 because they kept on making their own generating their own profits.
Yeah.
Just based off of just showing people, hey, here's what we can do.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like Dragon. They were comparing it to Dragon Age, where Dragon Age has a very big budget.
Mm-hmm.
The Witcher doesn't. It actually has a pretty tiny budget and has expanded upon it.
Exactly. Look, they weren't episodic though.
But see,
They
that's touching on a different subject though a little bit. With The Witcher, at least the developers themselves were hungry, right? They're starved.
Yeah.
Whereas Ubisoft is not starved.
Because they're
It
like
wasn't
of
Ubisoft.
Europe,
Dragon Age
Northern
is
Europe, Eastern
No,
Europe.
but I'm saying like
Wow.
Dragon Age, but these different types of publishers who aren't starved anymore, they're just bloated.
Yeah.
They can release these products and be like, oh, this product only sold,
Yeah,
know,
that's
5 or
shit,
6
whatever.
million units. We came at it breaking even, which is terrible. Because that's horrible to be selling something, making 500 million or whatever, some sort of disgusting amount of revenues, and to them not generating profit. Whereas The Witcher, these people are hungry to be making successful titles. Anyways, that's a different topic altogether. I agree with you as a consumer. It's
He's pointing
upsetting.
at Matt.
To Matt, sorry. I agree with Matt that as a consumer, it's upsetting, but at the same time, it makes a lot of sense because a lot of people play a game, they stop playing it, they'll never play it again in their lives. If you play a game, stop playing it for 6 months, another episode comes out, what happens is you talk to friends who might not have played the first episode, who go and buy the first episode, and then it becomes this sort of a momentum, right? So you have a larger community of people who are playing a game.
I mean, I don't know. I couldn't be bothered to play a game
I mean-
for a while. Like I haven't played any of them yet.
But I mean, at the same time, it gives indie developers a chance because they can put more of their efforts into like focusing on one
Yeah.
thing for the time being, not putting as much money as they would need to necessarily for a full-fledged game, a full-fledged indie game. And they can put up, like a third of the game. Here it is, and then if people like it, well, that's great. We haven't, wasted all of our money.
Yeah.
We wasted 30%, 33% of our money. And if that project works, then we can put in more money.
Right.
If it doesn't, well, we still have 67% to
Yeah.
use and invest on something smarter.
It's true. You look at it as a business, right? I mean, I feel that by and large, a lot of people who make video games just don't look at it as a business. They look at it as a passion. And then they start to release the product, and then the consumers are consumers. They're not a different type of consumer. They still have some sort of a desire to purchase the product. You put a lot of faith in them, and they just don't reciprocate. They just don't care about it on the same level you do. Music has gone and past that stage.
Yeah.
Now a lot of people are very sober about it, right? The whole music experience has become a business in a lot of ways that I think the video game industry has yet to go through, unfortunately. There's going to be a lot of growing pains still.
And on that note, that's it for us.
Food for thought. There's just a lot of us
That's
talking.
such a depressing...
Food for thought. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube. Check the blog out, gamerbasement.com. And then all our random social medias.
Every social media.
Pretty much
All
Brandon's
of the social
Instagram.
medias.
My
Tinder.
Instagram.
Snap, wait, no, Snapchat.
Gamer
Chat
Basement on
Roulette.
Tinder.
That's it, on Tinder.
Just all of us.
We should make a separate podcast of just us, me and